One.
You can see this is a really large stone with a hole in the top. It actually points to Arada or Mount Ararat. There are more than 8 crosses on this. So there's different styles of crosses, and a third of the stone is below the ground. And even part of it has broken off in ancient times. So it was quite a massive stone. Now, Ron Wyatt found these in 1977 on his first trip with his teenage sons. And he believed that these were anchor stones, and then later drogue stones, which are counterweights in a storm. You put on like stabilizing stones, you put on a boat and hang them down, and it keeps the boat into the waves, pointing into the waves, and stable. And so they have found a total, since Ron passed away and other people out here investigating, 26 of these. So it's probably a lot more. And so here we are in the village of Arzap, and Ron was told by some of the locals that this was also called the region or Valley of 8 or the Village of 8. And of course there were 8 people on Noah's Ark. In 1977, on Ron Wyatt's first trip to this area, he brought his 2 teenage sons, and their car broke down. The taxi they had taken from Erzurum over here, about a 4-hour drive, broke down outside of town on the other side of this mountain. So Ron, it broke down 3 times. So he thought maybe this is God signaling something. You know, this is his first time out here, no Google Maps, doesn't know where to go. So they piled stones on the side of the road. And one of those piles the next day, they walked from that out perpendicular to the road, and they came to this village. And the villagers showed them the anchor stones, and they kept exploring the area, and they came to this area here. If you look at the old videos, it was the walls are kind of high, but it was a broken down, looking like a house. But in front, they had 2 big stones, kind of the size of the anchor stones, with no holes, but it had a carving on it, pictographs. And these pictures carved on the rock, it showed 8 people, and the 2 biggest figures was a man and a woman, and the one headstone, it had the woman's eyes closed, and on the other one, both the man and the woman was closed, and above it was a wave, an ocean wave with a boat shape on top, like riding the wave, and then over that was a rainbow. And so Ron came to the conclusion that these were 2 headstones marking the spot where Noah, first his wife died, then Noah died. And so he put that in a little booklet and printed it in 1982, a self-printed, like photocopied booklet. He gave it out to all the Ark hunters looking for the Ark up there in Ararat. In 84 and 85, he came back here, it was March of 85, with David Fazold and a Saudi businessman from Tabuk, who was going to take Ron legally this time back to Sinai, the real Mount Sinai. And Fazold was here to look at Noah's Ark, and he took them over here to show them the site. When they got here, there was an 18-foot long trench dug, and the headstones were gone. Like, you can't, there's no headstones now. Totally, and then all the walls of the house were broken down. Somebody came through using Ron's information, found the site, and later, so Ron reported it to the police. Later, they told Ron what happened. They arrested a villager. He said he was paid $300 by an American. They actually tortured the villager by pulling out his nails for him to talk. His fingernails or toenails. And he said that they found a 15 or 18 foot long stone sarcophagus here. And when they opened it, there was a giant skeleton inside with lots of gold. It had full pieces with diamonds and jewelry, all gold. Of course, the American took it. And on the black market in Istanbul, a piece showed up for, they said, valued at the time $100 million. So whose private collection has, when they broke it down to the pieces, it was quite a treasure. And so that's why when you're here, you'll see a lot of pits dug and villagers thinking you're looking for treasures if you're a foreigner, because what happened in 85. And so sadly, that grave was dug up. Now, his grave could still be here. Now, they did excavate the site, so what you see now is the results of an excavation that Turks did in 2022, not last year, the year before. And they actually, in the past, you can actually see the 18-foot long depression up to a couple years ago. But because they did this an excavation across this whole site, they had like 3 or 4 meter squares. Like, I have photos of it all the way over. So this whole thing, and when they're finished with their excavation, they covered it all back up. So now you can't even see the trench that was dug for that grave robbery. They found 2 skeletons here, a mother and a child, with their normal sized ones. And then they excavated down below this building in what looks actually to be an Armenian chapel. They found Armenian writing, a couple pillars, some nice motifs of like bells or pomegranates, stuff here. Noah's house. Who knows? Maybe a shed for Noah or a summer area. Because of the water here, I can see why he would come over this area. Maybe his last years were in this area, and that's why the headstones were there. Now, so again, they haven't found the other grave, so it's possible there's one more grave here. But anyways, that was the story. So the other thing I want to point out, you see it's in Ron's video, it's a pretty cool shot of the sheep over there. There's a square stone that's natural. It's like a natural amphitheater. And right at the base of that amphitheater is a huge square boulder. So Ron was thinking, okay, this is where Noah lived, and maybe, because, you know, back then they had sacrifices for their worship. So maybe that's where he had a sacrifice. You know, he believed Noah was taller than what we are today. And so a big old altar up there. And you'll notice that they have huge stone fences on them. So like orange colored stones, they're huge boulders. Like much bigger than what we would make for a fence. You see the stones we would use to make a fence are small. But you can see these huge boulders going all the way around there. And then you look at a drone photo of this area, and they come down through here. You see the tops of it coming through the soil. And so again, it's possible someone living here who had put in animal pens and fences to keep the animals in, and working the land, water source up there, beautiful location. So, you know, you can't prove that Noah lived here. And we don't even know who the two people were buried, but it's, you know, it's possible it was Noah and his wife.